Audio Track 7.1.
Preserved, from fermenting to freeze-drying. Picture this. You go to a supermarket and there's no frozen food, no cans of beans, or bottles of ketchup. It's hard to imagine a world without food that has been preserved in some way. Food to stay put. Fresh food doesn't stay fresh for very long. From the moment an animal is killed or a vegetable is picked, bacteria begin to break it down. Eventually, the food spoils and sometimes becomes dangerous to eat. For early humans, this was a big problem because it meant that they had to eat animals soon after they were killed and eat fruits and vegetables soon after they were picked. This placed serious limitations on how they could live. They could not stay in one place. Instead, they had to follow their food sources. In addition, they could not prepare for times when those food sources were not available. Preserving food solved many of these problems. Preserving food requires controlling the conditions in which bacteria live. Early humans succeeded in controlling these conditions without understanding how they worked. One method, called fermentation, dates back more than 10,000 years and was used to make yogurt in the area that is now Iraq. Fermentation was probably discovered by accident when someone left some milk in a container and forgot about it. Returning days or weeks later, they found that the milk had transformed into yogurt. Preserving food in these ways resulted in significant changes in how people lived. They had enough to eat, even when there was no access to fresh food, and they were less likely to get sick from eating food that was full of dangerous bacteria and not very nutritious. Having a reliable food source allowed them to settle in one place. Better health and settled communities resulted in larger populations, and eventually, these communities began to grow their own food, which allowed populations to increase even more. Food on the go. As global trade and exploration increased, the need to transport food easily and safely became critical. At the end of the 18th century, French armies were marching across 3 continents, but they didn't have enough to eat. In 1800, French leader Napoleon offered a reward for a new way to preserve food. A chef named Nicolas Appert found a way. He put food in glass jars, closed them tightly, and then heated them to a high temperature. The food inside the jars lasted for months. A few years later, a British inventor adapted Appert's method for cans, and within a few decades, people could buy cans of soup, juice, vegetables, and meat. While there are many more modern food preservation techniques and new methods are always being developed, many people continue to enjoy food that has been preserved in traditional ways. This is true even when fresh food is available. These foods are often central to each culture's history and identity, and are likely to remain favorites for generations to come.